All right, everybody. Good afternoon. This morning I said I probably wasn't going to do too much on YouTube today unless the Seahawks made a move. Well, the Seahawks have made a move. Just a few minutes ago, it came down that the Seattle Seahawks are signing a linebacker, and it's a linebacker they met with yesterday, Jerome Baker, former Miami Dolphin. He was released by the Dolphins in the offseason, so it's not going to cost a compensatory pick to bring him on. However, there is going to be a monetary cost against the cap, which we now know to be 1 year, $7 million. This comes from Schefter, so it's about as official as it gets. So, Jerome Baker is your new Seattle Seahawk. He is your new linebacker. Presumably, him and Tyrell Dodson will be the starting linebackers, at least initially, in 2024. I do suspect that a rookie could be drafted, a blue chip rookie or a borderline blue chip rookie, who eventually takes that job, but they will probably want to start the season with their veterans. So now we know what the top of the linebacker depth chart is going to look like. Jerome Baker, welcome to Seattle. So, talking about the player first, just to talk a little bit about Jerome Baker. He seems like he is quite good. He's had two pretty good years in a row. He's only 27. He just turned 27. So he's probably still going to improve a little bit over the next couple of years. He's hitting his physical prime. You can see that he's actually started a lot of games over the last 6 seasons in Miami. And this last year, 2023, was the first year where he missed any real amount of time, where he missed 4 games, I believe, due to an injury. Part of the reason why he was released, but also just because Miami is in terrible financial straits. I imagine this is a player they would have wanted to keep, but monetarily they simply couldn't justify it. So I think the thing that stands out about Jerome Baker is his just general versatility. He's pretty good at everything. He's capable at run defense, coverage, rushing the passer. He actually had a season, the COVID season, he had 7 sacks as a inside linebacker. So I do look at him as somebody who can do the various things that need to be done in a Mike McDonald defense. He's not going to be one dimensional in the way that some of our previous linebackers were, and he's also familiar with playing in a 3-4 defense. Now, he is undersized. He is only 225 pounds. That's pushing it, but it's right on the line. It's not at the point yet where it's like, oh, he's too small. Too small would be anything below 225, I think. So he's right on the line, and obviously he's had a pretty decent amount of luck overcoming that over the last several years to form a pretty impressive career. I mean, he started at least 11 games every season of his career. So that would be the rundown on Jerome Baker as a player, just generally speaking here. PFF thought he played fairly well last year, and they thought he played really well in 2022. Now, before then, they were not quite so optimistic. A lot of blag grades on his part from previous years, going all the way back to his rookie year, where actually they liked him quite a bit. So, mixed bag there. But overall, he fills a pretty clear need. He fills a pretty clear hole in the roster. And now we just have to think about depth. And personally, I look at the linebacker depth on this team and I'm not exactly thrilled about it. I feel like we still might need one more guy, maybe two more guys. I don't know if anybody behind Baker and Dodson are going to be good enough. I don't. In fact, to be perfectly honest, I suspect that they're not good enough. Guys like Patrick O'Connell, guys like John Radigan, I don't see them as being anything more than special teamers, maybe even practice squatters. So we're gonna have to draft one guy, somebody who's actually like interesting and appealing, not just some random guy in the 6th round. We're gonna need to bring something serious to bear in the draft, and then we're just gonna have to hope for injury luck in 2024, honestly, because straight up, I don't think we have the resources to do too much else. Maybe we can draft a pair of linebackers, which, I mean, it's not a very good linebacker draft, but there is some decent depth to it. So I guess you could do that. And then you just hope they're both capable. But it is still kind of thin. And I'll tell you, one thing that jumps out about this contract is the structure. 1 year, $7 million. Um, I I'm sure we're going to be able to find a way to make this work, but I made that video last night for a reason. I don't think we have that much money left when you drill it all the way down. And there are things you can do, but are we going to be willing to do those things? And how happy are we going to be about the fact that we had to do those things? So 1 year, 7 million, unless there are void years in there, that whole hit is taken in 2024. And I don't know how we're going to make that work. I made that video saying, like, look, I think if you break it all the way down, we might have about 3 million left. So how do you get to 1 year, 7 million? You're probably going to have to restructure somebody, which I don't mind restructuring DK Metcalf at all. That might be the move. Maybe you extend somebody like DK Metcalf. I don't think the team wants to commit to Geno Smith beyond 2024 personally, but I guess that's the other possibility here. I guess you could do something else with Lockett's contract because you've already done quite a bit to it and there's very little dead money in 2025, but I don't know if he'd be willing to do that. Yeah, I don't know. This one, it's going to be interesting to see how we juggle this. 1 year, 7 million for Jerome Baker is more than I was hoping for, and I was kind of hoping it would be multi-year so we could push the cap hits out a little bit because he is a younger player who is likely to have several good years in front of him. So I'll admit, I don't love this contract. I think that there was maybe a better way to play this. I know we're trying to maintain flexibility, but when you're talking about someone like Jerome Baker, I'm less worried about that because he's shown to be a good player in this league for a couple years now, and he's young. He's 27. He's not turning 28 until December. So I look at somebody like a Jerome Baker and I think to myself, well, that should be somebody you don't feel badly about committing multi-year to. But obviously they're going to have to make the money work, right? Like it's not a choice. So the team is going to do something to make sure they maintain their salary cap. And maybe the solution is we're not going to have injury buffer. We're not going to have any injury buffer for this season. That's 3 million we don't have to worry about. And if we do that, then well, we can go all the way up to like, the 3 million I was talking about yesterday turns into 6 million. And if the 3 million I was talking about turns into 6 million, then you're right there. Then all you need to do is like release Miles Adams from his tender, which what's the big deal about that? Or you release somebody like I don't know. Well, not release, but you would restructure like $1 million void year for Metcalf, and boom, you're there. So ultimately, it's going to be on the team to figure out how they want to make the books work, but they have to make the books work. There's no, oh, we can just go into the season over the cap. No, you can't do that. So they're going to have to do something, and I seriously doubt whatever they do is going to be crippling for the team, short term or long term, because it's just a few $1,000,000. All right, so that's my rundown on this situation here. I wanted something multi-year, but I like the player. I like what he brings to the table. I think he's a good fit, and I'm excited to see what he ends up doing in Seattle. So let me know what you guys think down below. Jerome Baker, 1 year, 7 million, confirmed by multiple sources now. So the linebacker room is looking a little more stable. Mainly now the focus is going to turn to guard, although quite frankly, I don't think we have any money left to address that. All right, go Hawks. See what happens next.